Hello everyone, this is Shelby with Shelby Creations. I know I haven't been around for a little while, but my daughter Jen and her family did find their own place and they moved out. So we've been spending this time doing like a deep spring cleaning through the whole house. I mean drawers, cabinets, cupboards, closets, everything, baseboards. So we will be focusing in the Dragon's Den this coming week because on June the 29th, we're doing a craft room tour hop, and it will be, along with myself, will be Charlotte Peterson, Brenda Clark at, I wrote this down, Brenda Clark, the Simple Crafter, and we have a new one that wants to join in, Joan Shiflett, with Joan's Junk Journals and more. Really excited, to have her join in. If any of you would like to join in, let me know in the comments below or message me through Facebook. You can find me there as Michelle Birdsong. But going through, finally getting a chance to come in here and sit down, trying to find what to do with all the little bits and pieces that are left. And we all have like pieces of coffee dyed paper. Well, one thing I have found to do with these is I just make journaling spots, because when you don't have time and you really just don't want to mess with things, we all get to that stage. All I do is I just fold it and then bring out, alright, this is walnut stain, because I've labeled my daubers. I cross-pollinated one. I think it was bundled sage with walnut stain because I wasn't paying attention and did not have my daubers labeled at the time, and it made such a mess. So I try to keep them from cross-pollinating. So all I'm doing here is just inking both sides, or both edges, front and back. It's not a perfect, but it's supposed to represent like an old piece of paper anyway. Now if you wanted just to crumple it up, you could do that and then come back in and just lightly touch over it to where you can see the creases front and back. I've done that quite a bit, so that when I straighten it out, get on there, I've got more areas inside that have a little bit more character to them. Now this is going to be my inside, so I want to turn this little piece into like a piece of stationery. I'll get my words straight here in a minute. So these are the ones I used earlier. When I washed, or when I used these and I cleaned them off, they were still damp, which is why I set them this way and not face down, because I wanted them to dry. So let's come in here, and I'm just going to put a few here along the edges, nice and light. This is a bit of a darker one. Forgot which way it goes. And just do that along in there. Now I want to do one down here in the opposing corner. Do one there, do that one, come back with this one, just like that. And then up here, I did find a little rose. There, so it's just a little something here and there. Now when I fold this up, I'm going to put one, maybe just the rose here. And there we've got a little piece of stationery. Now, if you wanted lines on it, most of you have seen this. This is just a piece of foam core board that I've gone through like every 1/4 of an inch and made a little slit in it, and then took embroidery thread and wove it in and out. So this side is straight, this side is the diagonal, and this is the side I use for my lines. Just dab it there, and it doesn't have to be really dark. You just, all I want is just a semblance of lines. Something just like that. You can barely see them on the page. So I can fold that up, put my lid on that. Now, this I don't clean because it is paper. And one thing you'll notice is there will be areas where the ink may stay wet. So when you're done, you wait for this to dry. Just set it aside where it's not going to get into anything. Now, where? Pull this out. And I want to go ahead and clean off those. Alright, it's still damp, so I'm going to set this way so that it can dry. And I don't want to put it, down like these are, because it could get the box itself wet. So, alright, let's try it this way. There we go. You set those over. Set this aside for a moment because we'll end up using that again. So here, what I can do is, I haven't really found a designated space for this yet. So I can slip it under the paper clip. I can wrap it around the edge, or I can even stick it in a pocket somewhere. I know there's a pocket here. I can stick it in that pocket, and if the pocket goes this way, I can actually put it to where just one piece hangs out of the pocket. Something else I want to show you. This here is it's not lace, it's actually gauze. Because when we were cleaning the bathroom, I did find, now gauze is usually kept in a package and kept sterile. So I came across some that was not in a package, therefore it's not sterile anymore. So I'm not going to use this on an injury, but I can use this in crafting. Now, I'll show you what I did, because I ended up with, and sometimes just one big piece of gauze like this, look at what you end up with. It's a nice big piece. This is the piece I had cut off. And it gives some great texture on your pages, and it is so easy to do. So this is Vintage Photo, and all I'm going to do is tap this on my mat. Now this is a glass mat. If your mat are some of these that are plastic, don't do this. But on a glass mat, it works out really good. So in here, I have a spray bottle of alcohol. Now, I'm going to spritz the gauze front and back, and then I'm going to come in here and spritz over my ink. Put the lid back on that, and then I'm going to take it just as it is and wipe all of that up. Now that, because this is a Distress Oxide, that's where that is coming from, that other coloring. Now you may think, Shelby, you haven't used enough ink. It's not covering it. Not done yet. This has alcohol on it. I'm going to come back in here with water and saturate this It's not a dripping wet, but it is wet. And that does lighten it up from that dark color some. And then I can come in here and you can actually squeeze it to disperse the ink throughout the gauze. Now, need a piece of paper towel. Better get a couple of them. This is messy, but I think it's fun. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down on the paper towel to get off some of that excess water. And of course, some of the excess ink is coming with it, but that's okay. And what I have left, I will hang this over here to dry. And get this unfolded here. And yes, it's going to get all over my hands, but that's okay. It does wash off. And get it undone. And look at that. I've got a beautiful piece of gauze to use in my junk journal. Now this may look dark, but I do have one that's here that's already dried. Let me hang that over there so it can dry. This is one that's already dried. I did this earlier. And it came out a lot lighter. So it's easy to see that, you know, this is going to be the perfect shade that I want. So I have plenty. I've got one that's a little bit lighter. This one I did make just a tad darker. And I've still got 2 more left to do with, you know, if I want different colors. You can do them in any type of alcohol ink you want, or regular ink. See, you are left with quite a bit on your pad. Now, if you're like me and the water doesn't seem to be doing it, getting it off your hand, you can spritz it with alcohol and it will get the rest of it, or most of it, off. Just make sure that if you're using alcohol like this, that you do keep some kind of lotion, because it will dry your hands out after prolonged use. And all that is cleaned up. Another thing I found while straightening up my desk, let me see if I can grab it. A good friend of mine, Sherry Liberto, sent me this little piece of paper that has the most beautiful mushrooms on it. Well, if I was to cut these out and use them on tags or whatever, I could only use just what's here, because then I wouldn't have them anymore. So what I did is I ran it through my printer. So now I have more. I did these just a little lighter than the original, and you get your manual out and learn the settings on your printer, so you can change it. If it's too dark, you can make it lighter. But I think those turned out really good. She also sent me a few other sheets that I'll be doing the same thing with. I mean, these are beautiful. I just love those. So I'll be doing that with those too. I just wanted to come on and touch bases and share with you a few things that I've been working on today while I've taken a break from the house, and let you be aware of June the 29th, which is the last Saturday in June, for our craft room tour. And it's like a hop, because there'll be quite a few of us. Well, right now we're up to 4. There may be 5 or 6. It all depends on who else wants to join in. And they'll all come out at one time, and we'll have each other listed in the description. So you'll be able to, at the end of that video, click and go on to the next. Some have a designated craft room. Some may just craft at their kitchen table, or just may have an area. Like me, I've got a corner of a den that's probably 6 by 8. But the space itself is not what's important. It's the fact that you can come in and see how we've arranged our spaces, how we've organized it, how we work with it. So maybe it will inspire you with your space. Because I know I've seen a lot of questions on Facebook about, I'm a newbie, how do I do this? How do you, keep track of this, that, and the other? And hopefully this will help. And that's what those of us on YouTube try to do. We try to help each other. So please join us June 29th. That's the last Saturday in June. Excuse me. It's been so dusty in this house that, let me grab a drink. Let's see if it's something to wet my throat. Oh, but it's going to be so nice when we finally get done. Thank you for joining with me today. Thank you for letting me share these couple of little tips with you and to remind you about the hop. And I hope you have a blessed day and join us again here at the Dragon's Den. So until next time, bye guys.